Hey, hello my friends! Today we are going to talk about a really important thing in programming, which is data types. We've got plenty of different data types, but we will focus on the main ones that we are going to use very often in Unity. So here you can see the table of the data types, like the first one is int, like integer. So the integer data type can hold whole numbers, and it can hold numbers from -2 billion something up to 2 billion something. It doesn't really matter now because there are quite a big numbers, and we are not going to use such a numbers in our projects to start with. And of course, at the moment I want to tell you only the basic information, and at some point in the future we will expand this knowledge about every and each of this type, because there is more you need to know, but not for now, okay? I just want to pass on you only the basics that I think this is crucial for you to know just now. We've got integer, which we will use very often for the whole numbers. Then we've got float type, like fractions, and this is very commonly used in Unity because I'm showing you only those types that we will use on a daily basis. So let's go to this transform component, which is responsible for position, rotation and scale of our object on the scene. And when we move one of this value, you can see we've got a floating number inside. So actually this position consists of 3 floating number, which represents the X, Y and Z axis. So whenever it will come to things like speed, maybe power, maybe position and this kind of stuff, 99% of the time we will want to use a float data type. And as you can see with the floating numbers, we have to put a letter F at the end. It won't be visible to us, of course. This is only for the compiler to make sure that this number is really a float number. So just remember, whenever you will use some fractional number, we need to add letter F at the end. Next, we've got a bool data type, which is a very common in IT and programming. This is how the computers are built and how it works. It can hold only one of those two states, either true or false. And if I want to give you an example of that, maybe let's expand this sprite renderer component that we've got in here. So you can see we've got two properties, flip, and there is flip X and Y. If I tick on the X, it gets flipped on the X axis. So whenever we've got a bool, it means either should it be flipped or not. True, so it is flipped. False, it is not. Okay, so it might work this way. But of course, we will find other cases for that later. Next, we've got a byte data type, which is very similar to integer, but it starts from 0 and go up to 255. And this is very common to use it with the colors. If we expand our sprite renderer again and go inside the color, you need to know that color is built of 3 or 4 channels. And here on the bottom, you can see those channels. We've got red channel, green and blue, and the last one is alpha channel, so the opacity. If we move this slider, we will change the value and go from 0 to 255. And this is how we build colors. And now we can change the opacity as well, and it's again taking numbers from 0 to 255. This is one of the representation of the colors. In the Unity, we can choose the other one as well. If we click on here, we can set our colors to be chosen from the 0 up to the 1. So it depends which one we need, but most of the time we will use this on the top from 0 to 255. And in this case, we are going to use this byte data type. So let me go back all the way to the right because I want to keep my color white. So let's go to the next one, which we actually covered a little bit before because we've got vector 3, We've got vector2 as well. It is used quite often with 2D objects, but I decided to put vector3 in here in the table. And again, if we go to the transform component, this position is actually a vector3 because it consists of 3 different values of floats. And you can see that in here. So if we want to specify the position, or for example rotation or scale, we can use something like vector3 and provide 3 different values to set a new value for one of those. Color, we already covered that, so you know how it works and how to build your own color. Then we go to the string data type. This is all the text we want to use in our games, and anytime we would like to use some text value, we have to put it inside the quotation mark. This is a must. Remember, any text value needs to be inside quotation mark, like it is shown in here. Then we will have many other types that are very common in Unity. Just remember that whenever we create a new script, it becomes a new class, and the new class is a new type of data in programming language like C#. So if we have here a transform component, it is a separate data type as well. That's why if we want to do something about the position, rotation and scale, we want to get this whole component, we can create such a data type which is transform. If we want to do something with any game object that is on the scene, we can just get this by the data type game object. If we would like to change something in the sprite renderer component, we can use sprite renderer data type. If we would like to add some other component or create a new script, it will become a new data type and we can access it by its type. So this is how it's going to work, and we will get that in practice very soon. And remember, this is only basics. There will be a lot more to that, but it's not needed for now just yet. We will expand this knowledge later in the future.